just where you should be. And that is JP Mega, 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 Mega. The one-stop shopping Dominica, nigga, 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 nigga. You could be shopping and having fun with your daughter or with your son. We cater to everyone. What a happy place, happy place. Oh, JP Mega, 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 Mega. The one-stop shopping Dominica, nigga, 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 nigga. You could be shopping and having fun. Bring papa and mama along. We cater to everyone. What a happy place, happy place. Oh, what a happy place. Purchase 6 or more of any item and you automatically qualify for a discount. Check us out at the Mega Store in Funkole where there's lots of parking. On Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. JP Mega, the best family shopping experience.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning, and we are here as we always are with Jolly's Health Vibes. Good morning to all our constant listeners, the listeners of Q95 Radio. Good morning to you. This morning, we are here in studio, Jacinfa and I. Jacinfa, good morning.
Good morning to you and to our listeners. It's been a minute.
Yes, it's been a while since Mrs. Jacinfa Fagan Defoe has been with us on Health Vibes, but she is back today in grand style. She is back today in grand style. Of course, I am Trudy Christian, and MIA this morning is our chief host, Mr. Carlton Langdo. He had another engagement, so he could not be in studio with us this morning, but as usual, he sends his love. He always loves to be on air, and when he doesn't get to come on the show, he regrets it, but he had another engagement. So Carlton, good morning to you. And but we are here, Jacinfa and I, we're holding down the fort. Jolly's Health Vibes, we're gonna have a great show. Yeah. So you need to stay tuned. Jacinfa, it has been, well, summer is starting, yes. Or I guess we could say summer has already begun.
Yes, it has.
We are in the beautiful but hot month of July. And there have been graduations and graduations. Yes. It's graduation season. And once those graduations are going on, you know that means summer vacation is here.
It's been wonderful, to see all the students in their glory, their capes, and it's a great moment. I'm sure you have your own graduation for Dominica State College coming up.
We are a little later than everybody else. We'll be in October.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Right. But I just want to say congratulations to all the students who graduated and will be graduating this year, to the schools as well, especially for the top students and the schools celebrating with those students as well. Congratulations to you. And the journey doesn't stop there. It continues. So continue all the hard work.
Right. And even the preschoolers, there are preschool graduations. Just if I've been seeing these graduations live, and I'm saying to myself, boy, do they even have prizes for best in phonics, best? I said to myself, whoa, things getting real serious.
I never had that.
I know, I never had that either. We didn't have primary school graduation either.
Neither.
It was until high school that I had my first graduation.
I as well.
Yes, but these days we're starting real early. So congratulations even to the preschool graduates and the primary school, the high school graduates. And of course, well, coming up, as I said, later in the year, the Dominica State College will host its own graduation. But it's definitely it's a nice season, a lot of congratulations to go around, a lot of happiness, a lot of excitement and pride, of course, too, amongst the parents. So I also want to say, congratulations to the parents, for supporting these students for their journey. I know it's a proud moment for so many parents during graduation season. It's also an expensive time for the parents because, for graduation, everybody wants what they want and parents have to try to please. So, but still work within your budget. don't go into debt for graduation. Work within your budget and
Yeah.
enjoy the
The
moments.
moment, of course.
Yeah, today is the graduation of the convent high school. So I specifically want to
Nice.
say congratulations to the ladies who will be graduating from my alma mater and your alma mater
Thank you.
this afternoon, the convent high school.
Yes, congrats
And
to them.
yes, and congratulations to the top performers and all the students
Yes.
of the grade 6 national assessment, the students who did well, the students who
Mhm.
got by, and the students who are looking forward to high school.
Yes.
Yes, congratulations to you all. And just for more excitement, it is July, and that is Jolly's Customer Appreciation Week
Well, yeah. So later this month.
this month.
On about the third week
Mhm.
in July will be Customer Appreciation Week.
Right.
We have been planning. There's been discussions, activities along the way, and soon enough, you will be hearing of the plans that
Yes.
we'll be having. But I know many people, especially in the north,
Mhm.
are looking forward to the opening of our new Portsmouth branch.
Okay.
I personally have not seen it. I've just
Uh-huh.
heard from co-workers and customers who have seen the development
Uh-huh.
of that construction. But I know many of them will be very, very pleased to have a Jolly's pharmacy.
Close to them, right in the north.
Yes. Then on the 17th of July,
Mhm.
those of you who are used to shopping online, so Jolly's DM, there'll be free shipping. So put that date in your diary, in your phones on the 17th of July. But Customer Appreciation Week, it's a week where we say thank you to all our loyal customers. If it were not for you, as our customers, we would not be who we are, what we are. And so we always take some time to give back to our customers and just expressing how grateful we are to you for choosing us as your number one pharmacy and trusting us.
Of course. And customers always feel appreciated at Jolly's Pharmacy. I mean, I am a witness to that. Every time I go, I do feel appreciated. But during this period, it is amped up times 10,000. And as you said, Justin, for plans will be revealed for customer bit by bit for Customer Appreciation Week. But I have been privy to some plans, particularly for the VIP shopping experience. And I can tell the customers that they need to look out for that. When that is announced, make sure you mark your calendars.
Yes.
It will be somewhere between July 20th and 22nd. That's Customer Appreciation Week. So in that period, the VIP shopping experience, I've seen some plans, and I myself, I was there last year. At JP Mega.
Yes. Oh,
Yes, and the customers were treated like kings and queens. And from the plans I saw being rolled out for this year, they're going to be treated like, I don't know, kings and queens squared. So customers need to really look out for what Jolly's has in store for them for Customer Appreciation Week. And get yourself hyped, get yourself prepared. Yes. And from the plans I saw, it's not just giving back to the customers in terms of prizes and giveaways and that sort of thing, but also in terms of educating and enriching. So some of the activities are really geared towards helping the customers become more engaged, educated, informed, to make better health decisions. So I like what I see, and people need to just
stay tuned.
Yeah. They just need to stay tuned. I am excited, and they need to be excited as well. I just want to share for me this week. It's a big week because I am going to St. Lucia with my debate team.
Right, congrats.
Yes, we put out the press release just today. Jolly's, of course, is a sponsor of my debate team. So I want to thank Jolly's. As a lot of people maybe don't know, but there is a mini Jolly's Pharmacy in the State College, at the State College campus. It's called JP Mini, and the students love to go to JP Mini. There is a deli there, just like there is at JP Mega. So they get all their food there. Then there is a little lounge there where they have internet access. There is a
Basic
TV
needs
there.
as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the store is equipped with, all the basic necessities that you may need as a student. All your toiletries, anything you might have forgotten. There is even hair products there. So if you went to school and, you forgot to lay your edges down, the hair products are there at JP Mini. Of course. So the DSC students love JP Mini. And of course, Jolly's is giving back to them by sponsoring the debate team, which is heading to St. Lucia for a debate competition against the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. That will be on Friday. So we're leaving tomorrow, a team of 6 very capable debaters, and they will be representing the State College and Dominica by extension.
Right.
Yes, in
So
St.
best
Lucia.
of luck. Let me just take an
Thank you.
opportunity to say best of luck. And, really kudos to you for being part of this debating, journey with the students. Sometimes they have undiscovered talents and they just need a little
Yes.
push and encouragement and support. So really and truly, keep it up. And
Thank
best of luck to
you.
your team.
Yes, we go in there to show our best side, our strongest side. So when I come back next week, I'll give you guys the update.
Nice.
Jacinta, so we've been talking, but we do have a exciting topic planned for our listeners today. And today we're going to be talking a bit about alternative medicine and the new hype or the renewed interest in finding alternative remedies for some of our health needs. And what does that mean for our conventional medicine, our synthetic medicine or synthetic drugs? So we'll be engaging in that conversation in just a bit. So you need to stay tuned, and if you have already ideas, stay tuned, because we'll be engaging you. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll be talking all about these alternative or herbal remedies, and what do they mean for the traditional or conventional drugs, right? So we'll be right back.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor, and not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Langdo, with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan-Defo and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
St. Mary's chips, a chip for every occasion. Let's go where good things happen. Craving a bite of something tasty but healthy? Then it's time to head to Jolly's Pharmacy and pick up some chips from St. Mary's. Cassava, banana, breadfruit, or plantain chips, the choice is all yours. All ingredients are fresh from the farm and it's healthy. There's zero trans fat, no MSG, and it's gluten-free. So when you're making those healthy choices, always choose St. Mary's. St. Mary's, where good things happen. St. Mary's chips, a chip for every occasion, made with love in the Caribbean. Distributed island-wide by Jolly's Pharmacy.
And we are back with you, Jolly's Health Vibes. We are here, and we want to open up a discussion this morning about alternative medicine versus conventional medicine. What's the real deal with that? And just to put things into context, alternative medicine, when we talk about alternative, it is something that is used instead of standard medical treatment. So for instance, some people will choose to use a special diet in order to treat a medical condition such as just cancer, for instance. They might choose to use a special diet, or they might choose certain herbal remedies instead of utilizing drugs, cancer drugs, for instance, or utilizing prescribed drugs. So it is a form of medicine where a different treatment is utilized, an alternative is utilized, and not drugs or synthetic drugs,
Right.
so to speak. And sometimes there's another word that comes into play with when we talk about alternative medicine. Sometimes we talk about complementary. And this is really where people use something along with the standard medical treatment that they would get, from physicians. So they use something alternative, but they also are using the standard medical care. So they're doing both, right? So complementary. Yes. So this is one aspect of it. And Jacinta, yes.
Right. So conventional medicine, and this is where it's a system where us as health professionals, so doctors, pharmacists, nurses, use drugs to treat certain types of symptoms and diseases. So you have your like your synthetic drugs, which are more widely used in our practice. So, like you rightfully said, for complementary medicine, and that is very, very popular right now, very, very common, that doctors will prescribe standard medication, drugs, and also prescribe other supplements or other remedies to alongside prescribed medications. Sorry, I know many people would say, well, I don't like drugs.
Yes.
And we hear that all the time at the pharmacy. Oh, why did the doctor prescribe so many drugs? Why is 2-3 medications for pressure or for sugar, and the list goes on. And we have to take the time to explain to them the reasoning behind prescribing more than one medication for just one type of condition. And even so, some people say, well, I have my garlic, I have my bush tea, I have and don't get me wrong, I do believe in herbal medication. In fact, in school, we did learn about both synthetic medications and complementary medications, alternative medications, because they do have a place in healthcare remedies.
Right.
But what I will start off by saying very early in our discussion, one of our major concerns as health professionals is interactions between, or among, I should say, prescribed medications, complementary supplements, herbal medications. So imagine someone has been prescribed a particular type of medication from the doctors, and they still add on certain herbal medications or drinks, teas, boosts, whatever it is, and other supplements as well, all together, and they are not aware of the risks, side effects, and complications that can arise when taking all of those together. So you have to be very, very careful. That's why, even though we have a wider range of herbal supplements available on the shelf that you can just go in the pharmacies and pick up, if you do have existing medications for a condition, it's always wise to ask your doctor or your pharmacist, is it okay to take this along that? And then the discussion follows.
Right. And I wanted to bring up too, because you're bringing up a very important point, and I just wanted to echo what you're saying. It's important to disclose to your medical practitioner, to your pharmacist,
Right.
the things that you are taking or that you may want to take or try,
Yes.
that may, you have no idea, interact with the conventional medicine that you were prescribed. So sometimes people like to hide what it is that they are doing, and and in doing so have a negative impact on their own health.
Right, because I'll tell you one thing. I like what you mentioned about hiding. Sometimes, absent-mindedly, someone may forget to mention it to the doctors, but some people may think it's not important.
Oh yes, yes.
To disclose supplements or herbal remedies that they're already taking. So the doctors are unaware unless if they ask. directly, are you taking other remedies, and the patient remembers or is honest enough to bring it up at that time. But it is very important to disclose other remedies, especially medication that you already take internally. So that's
Mhm.
oral medications or supplements that the doctors will say, okay, if you are taking this supplement or herbal remedy, I'm going to prescribe this other set of medication. Ensure that you do not take them together at least 2 hours apart, or if you take one medication in the morning, the other set in the afternoon or nighttime, so that there is enough time in between to reduce on number one side effects or interactions, because almost all of the medications that you take orally, they must be metabolized in some way through our body for it to start its work, for it to do its job.
Mhm.
And some of them, the herbal medications as well, may follow similar pathways. And so you can see what can happen. Certain juice, grapefruit
Yes,
juice.
I know about
Many
grapefruit
of you
juice,
who are on cholesterol medication,
like your
you would see
statins.
your statins.
Mhm.
And so if you have a high level of grapefruit juice in your system already, that can decrease or no, increase the concentration of the statins in your system. So already that can cause issues. So you have to be
Mhm.
really, really careful when you're using more than one type of medications together.
Right. And that is another thing I think we need to define early on, is when people talk about natural remedies, or what we're referring to as alternative medicine or alternative remedies. Sometimes what it is that is the natural remedy is a herbal, a herbal remedy, and people don't equate anything herbal or grown, or plants in nature as being a drug. So we need to define, Justin, for what is a drug, because you're talking about interactions, and maybe somebody would say, what I'm taking is natural, so it's not a drug. So why I would need to talk about interactions
Well, a drug is a substance that is taken, I would say, mostly internally, but I mean it can be
topically?
topically as
Uh-huh.
well, rectally, vaginally, whatever the case may be, that changes in some way or changes the way your system operates,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's say you take diclofenac, one of the most commonly used painkillers. So you're experiencing a headache, a toothache, whatever it may be, and you take diclofenac, whether it's a tablet, by mouth, rectally, topically, the cream, the gel. It has to alter something either internally for you to have that decrease in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Herbal teas and so forth, they will do the same thing. So they work probably slightly differently
Mm-hmm.
from the conventional medication that is given to you. But in order for you to experience some type of change in the body, there must be a metabolic reaction, right? So a drug doesn't necessarily mean something that is prescribed by a doctor. So it
Right.
is a substance that is used, that changes some type of chemical process or
Mm-hmm.
brings about some change to your system to bring about an effect.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that is very important to understand. So anything that's going to change your body's chemistry or something about your
Mhm.
body's functioning, it has an effect on that. That is
Mhm.
a drug. So if you are, for instance, taking certain cannabis products, yes, cannabis, is a plant, but the
It's a type of,
effect, yes, it's a drug.
yes.
So it's important, because I often hear people talk about natural things, and speak of them in such a way that they are not drugs as well. And I do know, Justin, for a lot of our synthetic medication, the root of it is from a plant, some plant material as well. So it's not like, there's a divide between plant and drug. It's
Right. So I'm happy that you mentioned that, because many medications, especially right now, are derived from
from
plants.
plants, yes.
And the supplements we have on the shelf as well, like the Mason brand that we have,
Mhm.
you know, is there's a wide range of the products that are herbal based.
Mhm.
And what's the difference is, okay, some people say, well, I don't want to take the tablets or capsules or drops or whatnot and take it straight from their garden.
Mhm.
But the difference is with products that have been um, constructed into tablets or capsules or drops or whatnot, they are quantified. So in order for them to be even on the shelves of the pharmacies, they have to be under scrutiny. So clinical trials, they have to be tested, they have to be evaluated, they have to go through a very rigid system to be approved. So the amount in a serving size, whether it is one capsule per serving, two capsules, and so forth, that has to be tested. So you know when you take one capsule, you're getting 400 milligrams of this particular herb or garlic or parsley or whatnot, instead of just picking out from the garden and just taking a handful, putting it in water and boil. You know, so that this is one of the main differences between herbal supplements that are already placed in capsules or tablets form and others than just picking out from the garden. I mean, I know people are going to say, you know, my grandparents, my
Yes, and
mothers, my
we'll
father,
talk
and we
about
really want
that.
people to call in to give their their experience
Mhm.
and background of it. And again, I am not against it, but I'm really just going to stress to be careful when using herbal remedies, just the correct amount, and, you know, do your proper research and ask questions first, because you can cause more harm than good.
Right. I just think the awareness is necessary. We're not bashing any form
No, we're not.
and as a matter of fact, a lot of people find great relief by using conventional and alternative. So as we said,
You're right.
complementary
Yes,
medicine. So
yes.
they will utilize their conventional medications and they will also utilize some other supplements or whatever. And that is a complementary pattern and they
Right.
find better results possibly
Very true.
from that approach than maybe just using conventional or just using alternative. So
Correct.
we're not saying that, you know, it's negative, but we're just saying that there needs to be certain certain awareness and certain things kept in mind when you're
Right.
utilizing some form of alternative medication. So first, the disclosure to your medical practitioner of what it
Yes.
is that you're using or that you intend to use. That is very important. And secondly, in terms of quantity of what you are using, you know, how do you quantify any sort of herbal or alternative medication that you're taking? What advice do you have in terms of how much is necessary for the effect?
Right.
And yeah, there are quite a few herbalists in Dominica, some with a lot of experience.
Oh, yes.
I've interacted with one in particular. He's done certain sessions for my group. Yes, Mr. Deja Parker
Right.
is who I call him, the name I call him by Parker. But and I know these people, they've done so much work in this area that they are able to quantify, you know, and
Right.
give their patients or give their clients a particular quantity of the herb
Right.
to take. So the client knows, okay, I'm going to take this amount because the herbalist said, I guess from his experience and his research, that this is what is necessary for the effect. But we do have a lot of people who just, you know, the Viking Vi, you just boiling herbs. So we already have a call on the line. Let's take this call as we continue this discussion about alternative medication. Caller, good morning.
Hi, morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. We're
Good,
good.
thanks.
This is Dr. IP.
Hi, IP.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good,
Good.
thank you.
Once again, let me thank you all for the conversation and that type of conversation, which I think is absolutely useful. But I just want to put another perspective on it. I think it's what those of us who practice the conventional, or what we call the conventional medicine. We sometimes forget that the fact that our people are still using these substances, it means they've been around for a long time, and that experimentation has gone on. And the fact that we're still using them, that the fact that people still use them means the people have found them safe. So the people have gone through for centuries their own experiments. But those experiments happen in the absence of the modern pharmaceutical. So the issue is that the concern is how does the, to me, is how the modern pharmaceutical is added to what existed. So then it becomes more the responsibility of those prescribing like me with modern pharmaceuticals to engage the patient on, are you taking anything? How much you taking? And realize then that it's more of our responsibility to add that rather than assuming that what we are doing is better and superior and then thinking that it's the patient now who must take that responsibility to tell us what they're using and how much. I'm saying it's just as much the response because it's we who have brought in these new forms of management of health problems. So at the same time, that is where the problem has arisen. The interaction is not based on the herbs and so are being introduced now. It's based on the fact that we are introducing pharmaceuticals. So I think that is something that we don't often look at it from that perspective. That the experimentation has been done, and if you think about it, even if it's on feeling, even if how much basilite you drink, you just say, well, I feel like breaking a branch. And people have done that for generations, and they haven't found that it has affected them in any way. That's the reason why they just still break a branch. So if now they're going to take some pharmaceutical drug, which is going to have an impact on them taking what they've always taken for hundreds of years, then I think that is where the responsibility is much more on those of us who are prescribing these pharmaceutical drugs to incorporate that education and that information as you're doing now into the exchange of the health with the patient.
Dr. Pascal, that is indeed a very interesting perspective, and I think a very correct perspective. I just wanted to interact with you a little bit and ask you if in your practice when you engage your patients on this discussion, if they are forthcoming, is it something that you find is they're normally comfortable with telling you what it is they're already taking, or is it something that you have to kind of try to maneuver to get out of them?
Well, it's again, it's the other aspect of medicine, which is the art of medicine, because as a physician or a nurse or a pharmacist, our job is also to collect as much information as possible.
That's
So
correct.
then again, it's not again the patient. It's we who have to find that recalcitrant patient, that patient who wants to hide. It's up to us to have an encounter that allows them to voluntarily provide that kind of information that we are saying is important. The same way if they have a sexually transmitted disease or something like that we find a way to get them to talk about it, whether they're having multiple partners, whether they're homosexual. It's not the responsibility, it's not on them. That's the point I want to make.
Okay.
Thank you. And I really want to
Thank you.
give your flowers, Dr. Pascal, for really taking the time, to speak with your patients. That's important. And unfortunately, that cannot be said across the board.
Right.
Because, for real, because many patients say, well, yeah, before I even start talking, the doctor started writing a prescription for me, and they didn't even ask me certain questions that I didn't even get a chance to. And I understand, you have many patients. When I say you across the board, you may have many patients to see in a very limited amount of time, and you want to see as many patients as possible. But taking the time to have a discussion can, reveal such important information
course.
that may be omitted, and that in itself may be detrimental to the patient's health. So thank you, Dr. Pascal, for taking that time.
And what Dr. Pascal, essentially spoke about is that patient-centered approach,
Right.
which we would really hope that all physicians would have. And it is the truth that some physicians do engage in the patient-centered approach, which is necessary, and some do not. And so we really, his call really is one to the health professionals to yes, the responsibility is on them to engage the patient as well. I have been to multiple doctors. This is personal experience. I'm a very, I know what I'm about when I
Of
go into a doctor's
course.
office, and I am able to speak for myself. And I have gone
Right.
to some who have not engaged me. And, I am very forthcoming,
Um,
but I wasn't asked any question, even if, sometimes maybe I would have been going to say something, but I wasn't even given the opportunity. So I know it can work, in a different way, but what he described is essentially ideal. Sometimes you have a particular condition, or you go to a physician for something, or you have a procedure maybe coming up, and you forget, or you want to say certain things, and you're not given the chance. But I have learned, I go in there and I'm saying everything. Yes, I take I'm giving you information before you even ask me. That's just me. That's my personality. I'm like, yeah, I'm taking turmeric, I'm taking this, I'm taking that. I take B12, I take biotin, I list all my supplements
Right.
just in case. Because I just don't know.
So you take front.
I take in front, yeah. But yeah, so the patient-centered approach is something that is so necessary. I just want to give the numbers if people want to call in and contribute, of course, to this discussion that we are having. Our numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, and 616-4257. And if you're calling from overseas and you want to contribute, that number is 305-432-9624. Yes. So, feel free to call in. Just in fact, and from what Dr. Pascal said, and something that I wanted to share as well, sometimes in terms of, physician and patient comfort and engagement, I've seen a case on TV. It's one of these health shows I used to watch back in the day, Untold Stories of the ER. I don't know if you're familiar, but yeah, there was a patient, coming into the emergency room and experiencing abdominal pain, and the patient was convinced that they had a demon in their liver. It was a religious sort of person. The person believed that they had a demon in their liver, and the person kept pressing down on the abdominal region, pressing down to remove the demon. And that is what was, so the person had actually damaged an organ with that constant pressing. So the physician on call was not able to treat that patient until he had engaged a religious leader from that patient's religious community to to remove the demon. So before the conventional medicine could even be employed, that physician had to work on the psychological aspect, which was the patient's belief was that they had a demon in their liver. So there was a religious leader that came and did a whole little ceremony at the hospital for the patient to remove the demon before the conventional medicine could even be practiced. And so sometimes when people have, certain things that, yes, they are used to, they have been doing for a long time, as Dr. Pascal said, yes, we could be talking about a religious belief, or we could be talking about, a herbal remedy that they use or whatever. If the physician doesn't find out about it before, sometimes what the physician may be trying to accomplish will never be accomplished, because the patient is not even open to it, or the patient is not going to take it, or the patient is not going to adhere So yeah, so it's a very interesting discussion, this kind of complementarity of medicine, alternative versus conventional.
Conventional.
Mhm.
But I love that example
Mhm.
because I saw something similar on another show,
Mhm.
and it was for a parent for a child, and very deeply rooted spiritually.
Mhm.
And the doctors did not believe in that, and they tried all sorts of remedies, but until, like you just said,
Mhm.
until they accepted that this was the patient and the family's religious belief and addressed that first, they were not able to get through to them at all. But
Mhm.
I'm going to tie in something else: your mental belief, your psychological state
Mhm.
has a great impact on your physical. So if you firmly believe that you are going to get worse with a medication, or I'll give you a primary example of some patients who come in and they're given the leaflet and they read the side effects. Some patients literally do not even take the medication just because of what they have read.
Mm.
Some of them take it, and because they are so fearful, your mind is so powerful. You swear you get a headache, you feel feverish, you feel like you're getting numb. You understand. So your mind is so very powerful. But if you have that fear or that mental state where something is going to happen to you if you take that medication, rather than have that openness, okay,
Mhm.
I am getting this treatment to help me to get better, you really will not chances are you are going to be in a state where you will not really feel that positive or receive that treatment
Mhm.
um effect that you are supposed to feel or get.
Mhm.
So your mental state, your reception to treatment is very, very important.
That is true. That is true. Yes, the mindset that you have is
Yes,
also impactful to the success of the treatment, the
of
success or
course.
the failure of the treatment. That is true. Just in fact, I wanted to ask our listeners, and I wanted to ask you,
Mhm.
and I will also give some of mine. What are some of the alternative medicine, some of the remedies that they grew up with, and that for them has worked and continues to work. So we're talking about alternative medicine, and we're talking about, the comparison with it and conventional medicine, or what people call the synthetic medicine,
Medication.
medication. And what is there's a lot of hype about alternative remedies, and I just wanted to engage a bit on some of those that are familiar to our listeners, and some that people feel definitely work because they've used it, and they sure it's working. One that comes to mind for me.
Mhm.
People always say, if you have diarrhea, if you're experiencing
Guava.
diarrhea, yes, you need to get guava leaf, young guava leaf, and you need to boil it
Mhm.
and drink the tea. And I have actually done this, and I have experienced it working. As a matter of
Yes.
fact, even working so well that it can send you into the flip
Okay.
scenario of then being
Constipation.
constipated. So I do know that there is some element of that guava leaf that does act as an anti-diarrheal drug. I know. I don't know. I have not researched what exactly it may be, what component, but I have experienced it for myself, so I know.
I mean, same here. Even with the fruit itself. I
Mhm.
remember growing up, and mom would always caution us not to eat too many guavas,
Mm.
because you would have difficulty going to the washroom, and so then,
Mhm.
summertime you would all fruits, mango or whatever,
Mm.
and it works. And like you said, that there must be some type of agent in the leaves, in the fruit itself, that will counteract, the frequency of bowel movements.
Mhm.
And I know many people listening can attest that yes, it works. I have tried it as well.
Mhm.
And yes, but again, very happy that you mentioned it can cause constipation if
Yes,
you're not
yes,
very
the
careful.
opposite, the opposite.
And so even when, well, let's go conventional options now,
Mhm,
Lomotil, loperamide, those are antidiarrheal options.
mhm,
And even when we do, recommend those options, we still say, okay, make sure you still drink it with a lot of water. So even though
mm,
you're trying to reduce the frequency of going to the washroom, you still want to be, cognizant that you don't want to be constipated.
mhm,
you know
mhm,
but with me, I, besides this guava example that I can relate to,
mhm,
uh, there have been other areas or herbal teas that I have drunk,
mhm,
especially when you have the flu, and many people are suffering with
mhm,
the flu right now. So you have your honey, your garlic, your ginger, and so forth, which is all wonderful, and they do work as well,
mhm.
especially with the sore throat and whatnot. But again, you really have to be careful with them. Alternative medications can also, or remedies or treatments, can also mean simple diet change,
Yes, dietary changes as well. Uh-huh.
exercise as well.
Mhm,
So it doesn't have to be something herbal,
mhm,
so it can be, okay, you're reducing on the number of fatty foods, incorporating more fruits and vegetables, exercising more. Massage therapy is a type of medication, treatment,
mhm.
acupuncture, so there's a wider range of other
Alternative,
remedies,
yes,
right?
alternative medicine, forms of alternative medicine,
Right.
and particularly for pain management, just in for you're
Oh,
correct.
yes.
So a lot of people, instead of using a synthetic drug for pain management, they would use an alternative medicine remedy. They'd use an alternative practice. So you mentioned massage, that is true. Acupuncture is
Right.
true.
Mhm.
People utilize quite a few alternative remedies for pain management, and I think it's becoming more and more common. I don't know, lifestyle, I guess, but a lot of people suffer from chronic pain,
Yes.
and so a lot of people are utilizing a lot of alternative forms of medicine for their chronic pain. I've been hearing a lot about that for sure.
You mentioned in the beginning about cancer treatments,
Mm-hmm.
and I have known, some individuals, who have passed on now, but they really resorted, to marijuana,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for pain relief.
For pain.
Like, to see them suffering, especially at the latter stages
Mm-hmm.
of their life, it's really heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them probably decide to stay away, from the conventional, and just, decide, okay, they want a more natural or alternative medication regimen, and many of them resort to marijuana. But again, it
Mm-hmm.
has to be quantified. You're not just going to give,
Mm-hmm.
large quantities
Mm-hmm.
absent-mindedly.
I see we have a call on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi,
Hi,
good morning.
morning.
I'm calling from Guadeloupe,
Hi.
but I'm from Dominica, from Taru.
Okay.
I would like to ask a question
Mhm.
because I go into the doctors here. I'm here on the doctors, and they're telling me I have a lot of gas, but they're not giving me no treatment. So someone from America told me, a Dominican, that Mylanta is good for gas. I would like to know if that's true.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, so
Thank you.
good. Right. So yeah, so Mylanta is one of the very common options. It can treat gas-related issues, indigestion, upset stomach. The directions are always on the bottle itself. It can be used. There are also anti-gas tablets and other liquids that can be used. But what I must caution you and other patients suffering with gas is to really look at how you eat, meaning, do you take your time to chew your food before swallowing? Are you eating in a hurry? Do you drink a lot of carbonated drinks? If you do, you really need to reduce on the quantity. Do you eat late at night? So when I say late at night, so past the hours of probably 7 o'clock, or do you eat heavy meals before going to bed? The length of time between one meal to the next, is it very large? And I know many people say, oh, they don't have time, they're busy, depending on the type of job. Understandable, but I'm sure that you are able to have a snack bar or yogurt or an apple or light fruit if you're not able to have a full balanced meal at once. So all of those practices can increase your gas levels and discomfort, pain, and the list goes on.
And also maybe what type of food that
type
you're
of food
eating,
that-
because there
yes.
are certain foods that do create, a lot of gas, a lot of
Flatulence.
yes. So if it's that, you or your fibrous and your beans and your that type of food, can be the culprits sometimes for that. So yeah, a lot of things to look at. Let me just give the numbers again. I see people are do have questions, and if you want to call, ask a question, or contribute to the discussion, the numbers are again 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, and 616-4257. The overseas line is 305-432-9624. Yes, Jacinta. So our discussion was going towards the whole pain management,
yes.
yes, pain relief, and what people are doing. I have noticed a lot of products, and you can give me some guidance on that, because I'm sure some of them are available at Jolly's Pharmacy. But a lot of products, naturally based, or naturally, natural ingredients, or the products would say all natural, and it's geared towards pain relief. I've seen some comprising of cannabis, once again,
Right.
nutmeg. So these are some of the ingredients that I'm seeing quite,
nutmeg spray
frequently.
also, yes.
Yes. I've seen, like, I have one that's supposed to be for aching joints and limbs, and it comprises of cinnamon, cannabis, nutmeg, and some other natural herbs.
Right.
So what in terms of that, have you been seeing that a lot on the shelf?
Well, yes, we have a wide variety
Okay.
of different types of rubs, gels,
Mhm.
and different combinations, or some of them may have just one type of main active ingredient.
Mhm.
So, like you said, so we have the nutmeg spray,
Mhm.
and many people do attest that it really
It
helps.
works.
Right.
Mhm.
Some other options would have combinations of active ingredients, whether it be herbal based, or like, let's say, the NSAID, so that the diclofenac gel, ibuprofen, piroxicam. So depending on what the combination is, that would determine how they work. So how the different active ingredients may work. So some of them may have a cooling sensation, a warming sensation. So for example, one of them that may be derived from cayenne pepper. So cayenne pepper
Cause
in
heat.
its entity, right?
Mhm.
So it may have that kind of warming sensation. Probably somebody has sprained themselves in some joint area or whatnot, and that may be a better choice. But with those that are more herbally based, like the cinnamon helps with circulation as well, the nutmeg spray that has some type of characteristic to aid in alleviating pain. Even lidocaine. I mean, lidocaine is more of an analgesic, a numbing agent. So all of those choices, I should say, depending on what type of active ingredients would work to numb the pain. So they all have that one goal, So if you are more herbally
Inclined.
there are options. doctors may say, okay, go ahead with this, or the others which are more NSAID based. So you can have the tablets to it, like the diclofenac or the naproxen or ibuprofen or piroxicam rubs. Then those are also available.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And I know people would choose something based on one, what they feel is safe.
Yes.
And two, what they feel is not going to have side effects, or what they feel, makes them feel relief without any sort of side effect. And two, their pocket.
Yes.
So I know that is also a consideration in terms of what a patient is going to choose for their restoration. If they're feeling sick, what can their pockets afford? And I know too that, well, initially I felt that was a big plus for alternative remedies, that it may be more cost effective than some of the conventional medicine remedies. But now I notice that this industry is becoming so refined, and it's so glossy. I would say that some of the products that I purchase, the natural products, are very expensive. So I think cost may not even be a factor so much if you choosing natural, because I noticed that it's quite costly for some of the alternatives. Yes.
Right. I mean,
Quite costly.
Again, it is a booming industry, and because they know that many people would still, delve to that type of area, people capitalize on that.
Yeah.
So if you are able to make your how do I say it, educated concoction like those herbalists can do and are experienced, then you may save yourself some dollars. But yes, there are so many options out there. But if you are really, really aware, of the risks, benefits, and if you aren't, that's why there are health professionals available, to get information from, and the trusted sites online as well. Remember, there's also that source as well.
Just for something you mentioned earlier, so I wanted to go back into some of the natural or herbal remedies that we grew up hearing about, and that we have experience that work. You mentioned garlic, that for the flu or for cold, a lot of people, and there is proven antibiotic characteristics to garlic.
Yes.
So this is something that it's understandable why if somebody has some sort of infection, maybe a sore throat or whatever, that the garlic that is providing that antibacterial thing, it would assist. So I have heard about garlic use, and I have experienced it too, that it does have some property that is assisting with that.
It's true, and it doesn't taste very nice.
No. So that's one that a lot of people recommend, and that it has been proven that it does have this antibiotic nature. And then there's something else that recently came to me, and that is the use of tea tree oil for fungal infections. And tea tree oil, a natural oil, and instead of antifungal or antimycotic drug agent, you could use tea tree oil. So this was recommended to me in a spa, like for a nail fungus, and I say, so I went to Jolly's Pharmacy and I bought the tea tree oil, and I started to use it. So that's just one example of how, because I would always maybe have just gotten a antifungal medication, but it was recommended that I use the tea tree oil, and I started using it, and then I started reading up on it, and there was so much information about the benefits of tea tree oil as an antifungal and even an antibacterial. So I said,
I was about to say that too.
Yeah, so some of these things, the research is coming out and the research is there, showing their properties and their effectiveness.
Yes, and just earlier this week, patients came and said, they've been using tea tree oil for a type of fungal infection, and I was so happy, that they were already using a natural option for it, and tea tree oil is so useful for so many skin conditions, remedies. So like you said, antibacterial, it's antifungal, can be antiseptic as well. It helps to moisturize, protect the skin. So it comes in different forms, creams, oil, and so forth. So the natural remedies are there, other oils, and like truly you've gone back natural, so I know you know about the different types of oils for the hair, for the scalp, for the skin, but with all that in mind, not every type of oil or remedy suits everyone. So I know of some friends of mine who say, okay, olive oil dries out their skin or their hair, and then for somebody else it may be the number one go-to oil. But it is okay, to try those avenues for treatment of certain ailments. Other options like creams or other antifungal choices, so ketoconazole, clotrimazole, terbinafine, and the list goes on. They work differently. Some may take longer periods than others. And as you mentioned about the fungal infections, I will just mention very briefly. Fungal, especially nail infections, take
a long time,
quite some time to go away fully. And even when you do go to a doctor who prescribes medication for fungal nail infections, you would see probably weeks, probably months. They may have to resort from one type of treatment to a stronger remedy. And many of us as ladies, especially, our hands are always in bleach, disinfectant, in water. So if it is your nails, your fingernails, that are being affected by a fungus, it's important to wear gloves when you're using any type of chemicals, and be very consistent with your treatment regimen.
So just some good advice there. And some of these things, they come up and you hear about them so often, and there is utility in them. Another one, Jacinta, that is very popular and as an anti-inflammatory is turmeric. So there has been a lot of hype, and I think increased usage of turmeric. I, being the type of person, and by the way, this is just me, I like everything to be, packaged and nice. That's why I talk about like buying my natural or herbal products at the pharmacy, because I want it to come all nice and prepackaged. So I will take turmeric as a supplement. But I know people, your natural turmeric, straight from the ground.
Right.
You pound it and you make a tea, you make turmeric tea. And some people, particularly I've known of people with, chronic or certain diseases like autoimmune diseases like lupus, for instance, who experience chronic pain and joint issues, using turmeric a lot as that anti-inflammatory, for its anti-inflammatory properties.
Yes.
So that is another, alternative treatment I find that has really taken the world by storm. Like I'm hearing everybody talking about turmeric these days. I don't know what's your experience in the pharmacy, but I'm hearing a lot about turmeric.
There's not so much hype as far as I can see. Probably people just come in and look for turmeric supplements on the shelf and go about, and you don't bother come to the dispensary section. But turmeric has been there for quite some time.
Yes, for yes.
But
donkey years. But I'm just seeing a lot about it recently.
Hype, right? But and again, as more research comes about, and other aspects about a herb is discovered, then that they're like, oh, I'm suffering from this. Oh, I can use that for that then. Hey, let me try it, So and word spreads around very quickly. So I'm not surprised, So if turmeric has been discovered even more for certain ailments, then why not? But again, quantifying
It's
is very
important, yeah.
important.
Which is why I think I maybe like to get this stuff packaged, because then I
Right.
read on the
It's
thing,
already
okay, I take one turmeric
but that's smart. That's
capsule
smart.
because that's what the directions say. So that's why I personally like to go that route. I know people, as I said, would prefer to just do the get the turmeric
Straight
fresh,
from- mhm.
yes, and utilize it that way. But I like the directions and the packaging kind of thing. So I take it that way. I remember, Justin, for as you mentioned, people spread information about things, and then people start saying, "Oh, I can use it for that," and that's how it spreads.
That's what happens.
I remember once there was a big craze about noni,
Oh,
and the noni, yes, and then I have since
I
stopped
remember.
hearing about noni. But there was a certain time that noni was, the go-to thing
Mhm.
for
A
a lot
lot of ailments,
of things. So some of these things sometimes they rise in popularity and then they quickly fade away. But I think in the search for optimal health and wellness, people will keep,
Utilizing them.
yes, finding things and trying different things, because everybody wants to feel as best as they possibly can.
Even I don't know how much you've heard about black seed oil. Have you heard of black seed oil?
No.
Right. So it's actually known as the miracle supplement or herbal choice. And
Wow.
like noni and
Mhm.
turmeric now is being used for quite a number of conditions and
Mhm.
ailments. We have our Jolly's pharmacy as well.
Mhm.
It's a little pricey, I will tell you that much.
Mhm.
But many people worldwide, not just here in Dominica, worldwide have been using black seed oil as complementary. So same thing we're going back
Uh-huh.
to other medication regimens.
Mhm.
I don't have a long paperwork of it,
Mhm.
but it comes in different forms. So it's in oils, it's in tablet form, capsule form. Even right now, I'm seeing it in hair oil mixtures.
Mm.
But it's something that again we can do further research on. But it's just to go hand in hand with what you're saying, like different herbal supplements. You have this big hype
Right,
of
right.
it's like the wonder miracle drug, and
Yeah.
then it dies down. But all in all, there are such a wide range, and Dominica is blessed, to have
I know,
so
yes.
much fresh fruits and vegetables and plants available at our fingertips.
Mhm.
And so that gives us the advantage of having all those choices and having those medical concoctions and mixtures that we can do for ourselves. I would advise, like Trudy saying, that there are special individuals, herbalists, who have done their thorough research. They
Mhm.
have experimented. Oh, Sister Nadas, if Sister Nadas were here this morning,
I know,
she will
yes.
tell you, So
Yes.
she's one of those. Hi, Sister Nadas, how are you? So she's one of those who believes firmly in natural remedies,
Mhm.
and she has done extensive work. She's been on Health Vibes with us many, many times with her products and, going all natural. And her remedies have been proven to be effective as well.
Mhm.
So if you do want to go the alternative way, like if you are on conventional medication, be very careful, discuss it with your health professionals. But if you do want to go that route and it is safe enough, I would advise you to go to someone who is experienced and not just do your own thing and then cause more harm to your system.
Right, right. And and as we wrap up, it's really good advice to always seek. Well, the advice that we are giving is to always seek advice from your medical practitioner, because I know what happens sometimes. Dr. Pascal called in earlier and spoke of, the need for the doctor, the physician, to engage the patient about what they're using. But I know sometimes people do take unilateral decisions to stop a particular treatment that they have been prescribed, or to replace something that they were using with something else because someone told them that that is going to work better. I know of quite a few people who, for instance, for things like high blood sugar and high blood pressure, they will decide to stop a particular treatment that they were prescribed, conventional, maybe medicine, and rely on an alternative form. So not do complementary, like not do it hand in hand, as we said
Right.
earlier, but just stop one and focus on the other. And that sometimes is to their detriment.
Exactly.
So, you know, the advice I really want to, with all this discussion that we've been having this morning, really want to leave our listeners with is the need to always, you know, in any decision that you're taking about what form of treatment you're going to utilize, whether you're going to use an alternative form, you're going to use the conventional, or you're going to do mix and use both, that you have a full, you know, discussion with a person who is a professional, a medical professional, to advise you really on the best way forward. And don't take things for granted that you could, you know, do certain things and not consult, because you might be doing something detrimental to your health.
Right. Just want to add on to what you said. Sometimes we have a call.
Yeah, let's
just
take this caller
Right.
and then we'll wrap up. Caller, good morning. Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Hi,
Yes.
good morning.
Yes, I'm calling in as a program. It's a very interesting program,
Thank
very
you.
informative. But I have a question regarding the natural, herbs and the supplements, whatever people are using. Is that how is the consumer sure that what is said, they're getting what is actually needed and is required for their particular, condition? Because some of these natural herbs, they say that they contain, let's say, 2% of this. And when, these things are tested in labs, they either too much or don't even have enough of the ingredients. So how can consumers guard themselves against,
Against that.
Yeah. So good question.
Right.
Thank you, caller.
So
Thank you.
okay, so I'm guessing you're referring to like the supplements in bottles,
Yeah, the
also
packaged ones, I would
packaged
assume.
ones. Again, unfortunately, not all the time you can know if a product is authenticated, or if it really does or has what it says on the package. I know for us, like I don't know for other companies. I know for us at Jolly's Pharmacy, the medications we bring in or the supplements that we bring in, based on the companies that we get them from, the source, we do extensive research on them. We look at their background, their reviews, their records, if they have any records, how frequent. So it's a long list of our checklist that we go through before we accept supplements or medications from different sources. So like I said, it's not just medications that you get behind the counter dispensary section. It's also on the floor, OTC aisle. Like you said, many of them go through extensive testing in the labs, making sure that they have the correct quantities, and so the label will coincide with what the consumer actually receives. So the brands that we have, they are trusted brands. I mean, we're not in the labs with them, but because they have to be regulated very strictly, from the FDA or other companies and other procedures before they get the okay to send out, to distributors or to pharmacies like us, it gives us that confidence, that level of confidence. You can never be 100% sure. I'm not going to, be biased about that, but we do our homework before we bring in products, especially complementary medications, herbal medications, or other options. So we have that level of confidence. That's the best that I can explain,
Right.
to you. I'll call under the listeners.
And I think it's important, the brand. And I was thinking just that when the caller asked you it, and so the pharmacy, Jolly's, is doing the work for you. The purchaser
Yes.
would, the brands that they're bringing in would be verified.
Of
But I
course.
think, trusting the brand, if it's a reputable brand, they've gone
Yes.
through due process, then you can be confident at least that what they're saying is good. That's why I now would be reluctant to buy, stuff just that I don't know the manufacturer. I
Yeah.
don't know the origin of this stuff. The packaging to me is not clear. So I'm very tight. I'm the type of consumer that type of thing turns me off. I know a lot of
Of
people don't
course.
care, but I want to know I'm buying something that, is from a reputable brand and source. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
because but even when you shop online, for
Exactly.
other
You read the
items,
detail. You read the what you call it, the reviews, right?
reviews,
Yeah.
details, who made it,
Yeah.
where is it from, so it's
Yeah.
the same thing that we do when you bring in items, either OTC medications. We really try our best to make sure that they are trusted brands, and your safety is our priority.
Yes. So it is already coming to the end of our time. And of course, we have been having this discussion this morning about alternative medicine, and all the different aspects of it and how it compares to conventional medicine, and some of the do's and don'ts, some of the things you need to take heed of, when you're making these decisions for your health and wellness. So Jacinta, we were just leaving the listeners with, some advice. Always consult if you're a medical professional before you make a decision, was my advice. I don't know what you want to leave them with, but that was mine.
but yes, I'm definitely going along with what you said, and also being very transparent with your health professionals. If you are concerned about a type of medication, it is best to seek your doctor's help or your pharmacist before just seizing, taking from that medication, because they will give it to you for a reason. If you want to opt for another choice, then let's have a discussion about it, and whichever is best for you, where the benefit outweighs the risks, then we will choose it.
Yeah, I want to I want to end with just a little personal story. As you mentioned that, sometimes we, like, I did blood work, for instance, and my insulin was very high, and I did blood work recently, and I was prescribed medication, and I saw drastic reduction back to normalcy of that insulin. So I'm just saying, when you prescribe, I could have been like, why not taking that now myself? I'll just deweigh myself, and I'll just, change whatever, which is true. You could do,
You can
your
do that
dietary
as
changes
well.
and your whatever. But sometimes with the medical professionals' advice, if you follow it, and you're consistent with it as well, you would see certain results. So I just wanted to leave that with the listeners. So we are at the end of our time. It is 11:30 a.m. I see the line is now going, but we really do have to wrap up. We will be back again next week, Wednesday, right here on Q95 Jolly's Health Vibes. And we always, of course, aim to bring you information about health and wellness, and good discussion, and always have some vibes. So we will be back next week, and hopefully our chief host, Mr. Langdo, will be back with us next week, so you can join us. I know if you had some burning questions, you might have to wait for next week to give that to us. So we are signing off here from the studios at Q95 FM, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Take care.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Langdo, with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan Defoe and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30.